South Carolina, with its sprawling live oaks draped in Spanish moss, antebellum mansions, and serene coastal vistas, is a state steeped in history and charm. Beneath its picturesque surface, however, lies a darker side, a tapestry woven with tales of tragedy, mystery, and the supernatural. From centuries-old plantations to forgotten prisons, the Palmetto State harbors some of the most haunted places in the United States, each echoing with whispers of the past. These locations are not merely relics of history, they are living, breathing conduits of fear, where the veil between the living and the dead seems perilously thin. The haunted sites of South Carolina are more than just tourist attractions or folklore, they are portals into a realm where the inexplicable becomes tangible. The stories surrounding these places are as varied as they are chilling: ghostly apparitions wandering moonlit corridors, disembodied voices calling out from empty rooms, and unexplained phenomena that defy logic. Whether it's the restless spirits of Civil War soldiers, betrayed lovers seeking vengeance, or innocent souls trapped by tragic fates, the ghosts of South Carolina refuse to be silenced. In this article, we will embark on a harrowing journey through the most haunted places in South Carolina, unraveling their eerie histories and uncovering the spine-tingling encounters that have left even the bravest visitors questioning their sanity. From the infamous Old Charleston Jail, where prisoners' cries still echo through its crumbling walls, to the shadowy halls of the Woodlands Plantation, where sorrow lingers like a heavy fog, each location holds a story that will leave you breathless. But why should you care about these haunted places? Because they remind us that history is not confined to textbooks or museum exhibits. It is alive, breathing, and sometimes haunting. These stories connect us to the human experiences of those who came before us, offering a glimpse into their joys, sorrows, and untimely ends. They also serve as a reminder that the unknown is never far away, lurking just beyond the edge of reason. As we delve deeper into these tales of terror and tragedy, prepare yourself for an experience unlike any other. This isn't just a recounting of ghost stories. It's an invitation to confront the shadows of the past and explore the boundaries of what we consider possible. So dim the lights, pull up a chair, and steel your nerves, because the dark corners of South Carolina are waiting to reveal their secrets. The haunting legacy of Old Charleston Jail, nestled within the heart of Charleston, a city renowned for its rich historical tapestry, stands the Old Charleston Jail, a grim sentinel of justice turned spectral abode. Constructed in 1802, this imposing structure served as a fortress of confinement for over a century, housing an array of inmates ranging from petty thieves to hardened criminals awaiting execution. Its thick stone walls and barred windows were designed not only to detain but to deter, yet they failed to silence the anguished cries of those held captive within. The jail's notorious reputation was cemented during the Civil War when it became a holding pen for Union prisoners, many of whom succumbed to disease and despair under its oppressive roof. Tales of torture and neglect permeate the annals of its history, painting a bleak picture of human suffering. It is said that the despair and agony experienced by countless souls seeped into the very fabric of the building, leaving behind a residue of anguish that refuses to fade. Today, the Old Charleston Jail stands as one of South Carolina's most haunted sites, drawing thrill seekers and paranormal investigators eager to experience its chilling aura firsthand. Visitors often report an overwhelming sense of dread upon entering, as if the air itself is charged with malevolent energy. The temperature inexplicably plummets in certain areas, and faint whispers drift through the corridors, hinting at conversations long concluded. One particularly harrowing account comes from a group of paranormal enthusiasts who spent a night within the jail's confines. As midnight approached, they claimed to hear the distinct sound of chains rattling, accompanied by guttural moans that seemed to emanate from the depths of the dungeon below. Another visitor recounted feeling an icy hand grasp her shoulder while exploring the upper cells, though no one was there when she turned around. These eerie occurrences are not isolated incidents. Over the years, numerous reports have surfaced of shadowy figures pacing the hallways, their forms flickering like candle flames in the dim light. Others speak of a woman in tattered clothing who appears briefly before vanishing into thin air, believed to be the spirit of a wrongfully imprisoned soul seeking absolution. The Old Charleston Jail doesn't merely stand as a monument to legal proceedings gone awry. It embodies the essence of human despair crystallized into a physical form. Each creak of its ancient floorboards and whisper of wind through its barred windows serves as a reminder of the countless lives altered, or ended, within its walls. As such, it remains a pivotal cornerstone in the haunted landscape of South Carolina, inviting the brave and the curious to peer beyond the veil of the known world. The ghosts of Woodlands Plantation. Deep within the lush countryside of South Carolina lies Woodlands Plantation, a sprawling estate that once thrived as a symbol of Southern opulence and agricultural prosperity. Built in the late 18th century, the plantation was home to generations of wealthy landowners whose fortunes were tied to the labor of enslaved people. The grandeur of its antebellum architecture belies a darker past, one marred by exploitation, tragedy, and betrayal. Today, the plantation is regarded as one of the most haunted sites in the state, its halls and grounds teeming with spectral activity that echoes the tormented lives of those who once called it home, or were forced to endure its horrors. Woodlands Plantation's history is riddled with sorrowful events that have left an indelible mark on its atmosphere. Among the most infamous tales is that of Sarah, a young enslaved woman who fell in love with a white overseer named Thomas. Their forbidden relationship ended in tragedy when the plantation owner discovered their secret rendezvous. Enraged by the scandal, he ordered Sarah to be publicly whipped as punishment, a brutal act that ultimately led to her death. Witnesses claimed to see Sarah's ghost wandering the plantation at night, her ethereal figure cloaked in tattered garments, her mournful sobs carried on the breeze. Some say she searches endlessly for Thomas, who disappeared shortly after her death, his fate shrouded in mystery. Another chilling legend revolves around the plantation's original mistress, Margaret, who met a violent end in the early 19th century. According to lore, Margaret discovered her husband's infidelity and confronted him in a fit of rage. The argument escalated, culminating in her murder at the hands of the man she trusted most. Her spirit is said to haunt the master bedroom, the plantation's slave quarters, now dilapidated and overtaken by nature, are another hotspot for paranormal activity. Here, the anguish of those who toiled under oppressive conditions lingers palpably. Tourists and researchers alike describe feelings of intense sadness and oppression when visiting this area, as though the weight of centuries-old grief presses down upon them. On several occasions, shadowy figures have been spotted darting between the ruins, their movements fleeting and evasive. Others have captured photographs showing orbs of light hovering near the remnants of the old barracks, believed by some to be the spirits of enslaved individuals reaching out from beyond the grave. Perhaps the most unsettling encounter occurred during a guided tour led by a local historian. As the group entered the grand dining hall, several participants reported seeing a translucent figure seated at the head of the table, its features distorted as if caught between worlds. The apparition appeared to be wearing period-appropriate attire, its hollow eyes fixed on the intruders before dissolving into nothingness. The guide, visibly shaken, later admitted that she had never witnessed anything like it during her years of leading tours. These accounts paint a vivid picture of a place where the boundaries between life and death blur, where the pain and suffering of the past continue to manifest in uncanny ways. The spirits of Woodlands Plantation seem unwilling, or unable, to move on, their unresolved grievances binding them to the earthly realm. For those brave enough to visit, the plantation offers a glimpse into a world where history and horror intertwine, reminding us that the echoes of the past can never truly be silenced. The phantom whispers of the USS Yorktown moored majestically in Charleston Harbor. The USS Yorktown stands as a testament to naval valor and technological prowess. Yet beneath its celebrated exterior lies a tapestry of spectral tales that chill the bones of those who dare to tread its decks. Commissioned in 1943, this Essex-class aircraft carrier saw action in World War II and the Vietnam War, earning 11 battle stars and a Presidential Unit Citation. However, it is not the accolades of war that draw visitors today, but rather the eerie whispers of those who once walked its corridors and now seemingly refuse to depart. During its service, the USS Yorktown was a floating city, bustling with thousands of sailors whose daily lives were a blend of camaraderie and peril. Tragedy struck multiple times aboard the vessel, with documented cases of accidental deaths, suicides, and mysterious disappearances. One of the most haunting stories involves a young sailor who reportedly fell into the massive propeller system during routine maintenance. His screams echoed across the ship, and locals swear they can still hear his desperate pleas mingling with the ocean waves. Visitors to the ship, now part of the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, frequently recount chilling encounters. Many speak of sudden drops in temperature in specific areas, notably the sick bay and engine room, where the air turns frigid and heavy with unseen presence. Tour guides share tales of tools mysteriously moving across workbenches, and personal belongings disappearing only to reappear elsewhere on the ship. The most spine-tingling reports come from overnight guests participating in ghost hunts, who claim to feel cold fingers brushing against their skin or hear footsteps echoing through empty passageways. Among the most active spots is the berthing area, where hundreds of sailors slept in close quarters, including voices shouting commands and the distant sounds of boots marching in formation. One recording even picked up a clear message saying, "We're still here," a poignant reminder of the men who lived and died aboard the Yorktown. The bridge, the nerve center of the ship, is another focal point of supernatural activity. Visitors often report seeing a shadowy figure standing at the helm, peering out over the harbor, as if navigating through invisible waters. Others describe the sensation of being watched, a prickle along the back of the neck that intensifies the longer they linger. Staff members have grown accustomed to these occurrences, treating them almost as part of the ship's enduring legacy. Despite, or perhaps because of, these eerie tales, the USS Yorktown continues to captivate and terrify visitors. Its storied past and spectral inhabitants offer a unique glimpse into a world where history and mystery collide, making it a cornerstone of South Carolina's haunted heritage. As the sun sets over Charleston Harbor, casting long shadows across the deck of the mighty carrier, one cannot help but wonder, are the spirits of the Yorktown truly at rest, or do they remain, bound to the vessel that was both their home and their tomb? The sinister secrets of the Litchfield Plantation nestled amid the tranquil marshes of Pawleys Island. The Litchfield Plantation exudes an outward charm that belies its deeply troubled history. Once a thriving rice plantation in the antebellum South, its sprawling grounds and stately mansion were built on the backs of enslaved laborers, whose lives were marked by unimaginable suffering. Beneath its polished veneer lies a labyrinth of secrets, where the sins of the past reverberate through time, manifesting in unsettling phenomena that defy explanation. The plantation's darkest chapter unfolded during the mid-19th century, when its ruthless owner, Colonel James Witherspoon, became embroiled in a sinister feud with neighboring plantation owners over disputed land. Known for his volatile temper and cruel disposition, Witherspoon allegedly orchestrated the poisoning of an entire family during a dinner party hosted at Litchfield. While no formal records exist to corroborate the tale, locals have passed down the story through generations, claiming that the victim's vengeful spirits still haunt the property. Visitors to the plantation have reported hearing faint laughter and clinking glasses emanating from the dining hall late at night, as though the ill-fated feast continues in perpetuity. Equally chilling are the accounts surrounding the enslaved individuals who worked the plantation's fields. Historical documents reveal that many were subjected to brutal punishments, including whippings and confinement in subterranean cells beneath the main house. These underground chambers, long sealed off but rumored to still exist, are said to be a hotbed of paranormal activity. Paranormal investigators who gained access to the hidden spaces describe an oppressive atmosphere, with temperatures plummeting and equipment malfunctioning without explanation. One team captured chilling EVP recordings of voices pleading for release, their words muffled but unmistakably anguished. The plantation's forests and marshlands, meanwhile, are steeped in legends of shadowy figures and disembodied cries. Locals speak of a mysterious woman in white who roams the grounds at dusk, her face obscured by a veil. Some believe her to be the ghost of a jilted lover who drowned herself in the nearby creek after being abandoned by a plantation worker. Others claim she is the spirit of a former enslaved woman searching for her lost child. Witnesses describe feeling an inexplicable sense of dread as they approach the water's edge, where the air grows unnaturally still and the sound of rustling leaves ceases entirely. Even the mansion itself is not immune to the supernatural. Guests staying in certain rooms have reported waking in the middle of the night to find the bed shaking violently, as if someone, or something, were trying to rouse them. Others describe seeing apparitions of women in period attire gliding silently through the halls, their faces etched with sorrow. One particularly unsettling incident involved a couple who fled the plantation in the early hours of the morning after repeatedly hearing the sound of a baby crying, despite there being no infants on the premises. While skeptics may dismiss these tales as mere folklore, the sheer volume and consistency of the accounts lend credence to the idea that the Litchfield plantation is indeed a place where the past refuses to stay buried. Its haunting beauty masks a legacy of cruelty and tragedy, serving as a stark reminder of the human cost of wealth and power. For those brave enough to explore its shadowy corridors and mist-shrouded grounds, the plantation offers a chilling glimpse into a world where history and horror intersect, leaving an indelible mark on all who dare to venture too close. The eerie echoes of St. Philip's Church in the heart of Charleston, where cobblestone streets weave through historic neighborhoods, stands St. Philip's Episcopal Church. An architectural marvel steeped in centuries of devotion and spiritual resonance. Built in 1836, the church has long been a beacon of faith and community, its towering steeple casting a watchful eye over the city. Yet, beneath its hallowed halls and stained glass windows lies a repository of spectral tales that intertwine the sacred with the supernatural. St. Philip's Graveyard, a sprawling expanse of weathered tombstones and ancient crypts, is a magnet for those drawn to the macabre. Among its most famous residents is Julia Linger, whose tragic story has become a cornerstone of the church's haunted lore. Buried alive during a cholera outbreak in the 19th century, Julia's desperate struggle for survival ended in a horrifying demise. Visitors to her crypt report hearing faint scratching sounds emanating from within, as though her ghostly hands are still clawing at the stone walls in a futile bid for freedom. Some claim to see her spectral figure wandering the cemetery at night, her hollow eyes searching for solace in a world that failed her. Inside the church, the atmosphere shifts from somber reverence to spine-tingling unease. Parishioners and tourists alike have recounted strange occurrences during services and tours. Candles inexplicably extinguish themselves, plunging sections of the nave into shadow. Choir members have described hearing harmonious singing when no one else is present, the ethereal melodies drifting through the rafters like echoes of a forgotten congregation. One particularly chilling account tells of a bride who, moments before exchanging vows, felt an icy hand grip her arm, a touch so real that it left a visible mark on her skin. The church's organ, a majestic instrument dating back to the 19th century, is said to play on its own during quiet hours. Custodians have reported hearing its deep, resonant notes, filling the sanctuary late at night, even though the keys remain untouched. Some believe the music is a manifestation of the spirits of former organists, who continue to practice their craft in the afterlife. Others speculate it is the voice of the church itself, mourning the passage of time and the lives intertwined with its walls. Perhaps the most compelling evidence of St. Philip's spectral inhabitants comes from paranormal investigators who have conducted extensive studies within its confines. Using thermal imaging cameras and audio recording devices, they have captured anomalies that defy logical explanation. Cold spots materialize in specific areas, particularly near the altar and baptismal font, where the air feels unnaturally heavy. Despite, or perhaps because of, these unsettling phenomena, St. Philip's Church remains a cherished landmark in Charleston. Its dual identity as a place of worship and a haven for restless spirits underscores the complexity of the human experience, where faith and fear often coexist. For those who dare to step inside, the church offers a profound meditation on mortality, memory, and the mysteries that lie beyond the veil of the known world. The dark allure of the Myrtles Plantation tucked away in the heart of Aiken, South Carolina, the Myrtles Plantation stands as an enigmatic relic of the antebellum South, its grandeur overshadowed by a sinister reputation as one of the most haunted sites in America. Built in 1796, the plantation's sprawling estate and ornate architecture evoke a bygone era of Southern elegance, yet its storied past is steeped in tragedy, betrayal, and bloodshed. The Myrtles is not merely haunted, it is a vortex of spectral energy, where the line between the living and the dead blurs with alarming frequency. Central to the plantation's haunted legacy is the infamous tale of Chloe, a young enslaved woman whose life ended in a manner as tragic as it was unjust. According to legend, Chloe was accused of eavesdropping on private conversations between the plantation owner and his wife. In retaliation, one of her ears was severed as punishment, leaving her permanently scarred and ostracized. Consumed by bitterness and a desire for revenge, Chloe allegedly poisoned a cake intended for the family, killing 2 of the owner's children and his wife. When her crime was discovered, Chloe was lynched by enraged workers, her body left to hang from the oak tree that still looms ominously on the property. Chloe's restless spirit is said to haunt the Myrtles to this day, manifesting in myriad unsettling ways. Visitors frequently report seeing a woman in a green turban wandering the grounds, her presence accompanied by the faint scent of jasmine, a signature of the perfumes Chloe reportedly wore. Paranormal investigators have captured numerous photographs of her apparition, her translucent form appearing near windows or at the base of the oak tree where she met her gruesome end. Others claim to hear her soft, mournful humming echoing through the halls, a haunting melody that seems to follow them wherever they go. The plantation's interior is equally rife with supernatural activity. The grand staircase, a centerpiece of the home, is said to be a hot spot for ghostly encounters. Footsteps have been heard ascending and descending the steps at odd hours, despite the absence of any living person. One of the most chilling accounts involves a guest who awoke in the middle of the night to find a pair of cold, invisible hands wrapped tightly around their throat. Others describe doors slamming shut on their own and mirrors cracking without explanation, as if the house itself were alive and reacting to their presence. The Myrtles' reputation as a paranormal epicenter has attracted countless ghost hunters and thrill seekers, many of whom leave with stories that defy rational explanation. During one investigation, a team recorded an EVP in which a voice clearly stated, "Leave me alone," its tone laced with desperation and anger. Another group captured footage of a rocking chair moving back and forth in the parlor, its motion steady and deliberate, as though an unseen force were seated within. Yet, the Myrtles' haunting extends beyond Chloe's vengeful spirit. Other entities are believed to reside within its walls, including the ghost of a young girl who died after falling from the second-floor balcony and the specter of a Confederate soldier who paces the grounds, his silhouette illuminated by the pale glow of moonlight. These spirits, like Chloe, seem tethered to the plantation, their unresolved grievances anchoring them to the earthly realm. For those who dare to explore its shadowy corridors and mist-laden grounds, the Myrtles plantation offers an unparalleled glimpse into a world where history and horror converge. Its dark allure lies not in its beauty, but in the palpable sense of dread that permeates every corner of the estate, a reminder that some wounds of the past are too deep to heal, and some spirits too restless to find peace. The unsettling presence of the South Carolina State Hospital, once a beacon of hope for mental health treatment in the Southeast, the South Carolina State Hospital, commonly referred to as Bull Street, after its address, now stands as a decaying monument to the darker chapters of psychiatric care. Established in 1828, the sprawling complex in Columbia served as a sanctuary for patients struggling with mental illness, epilepsy, and developmental disorders. Over its 175-year history, however, the hospital became synonymous with overcrowding, neglect, and inhumane practices, leaving behind a legacy marred by suffering and despair. Today, its crumbling structures and eerie corridors are believed to harbor the spirits of those who endured unimaginable hardships within its walls, making it one of the most haunted places in South Carolina. The hospital's transformation from a place of healing to a site of horror began in the late 19th century, as patient populations swelled far beyond capacity. By the mid-20th century, the facility housed over 6,000 patients, forcing many to live in deplorable conditions. Reports of abuse, forced lobotomies, and experimental treatments emerged, painting a grim picture of institutional failure. The most infamous of these practices involved the use of electroshock therapy and hydrotherapy, methods that left patients traumatized and, in some cases, permanently incapacitated. The hospital officially closed its doors in 1990, but its dark past continues to resonate through its vacant halls. Paranormal investigators and urban explorers who have ventured onto the Bull Street campus describe an overwhelming sense of oppression and unease. The air is thick with an unnatural stillness, punctuated by the faint sound of footsteps echoing through empty corridors. One particularly chilling hotspot is the old operating theater, where surgical procedures were performed without anesthesia. Visitors report feeling an icy hand gripping their shoulders or hearing disembodied whispers recounting fragmented phrases like, "Help me," and "It hurts." Thermal imaging cameras have captured cold spots in this area, suggesting the presence of residual energy left behind by those who suffered unspeakable pain. The morgue, located in the basement of one of the buildings, is another focal point of supernatural activity. Employees and trespassers alike have reported seeing shadowy figures moving among the rusted gurneys and broken medical equipment. Some claim to have witnessed apparitions of patients lying motionless on the tables, their faces contorted in silent screams. Others describe hearing the metallic clang of doors slamming shut, even though no one is nearby. EVP recordings taken in this space often revealed chilling messages, such as, "Get out," or "They're coming," fueling speculation that the spirits of those who died here remained trapped, unable to escape the horrors of their final days. Perhaps the most harrowing encounters occur in the former wards, where patients were confined to tiny, windowless rooms. Explorers recount feeling an inexplicable sense of dread as they enter these spaces, as though the walls themselves are imbued with the anguish of those who once occupied them. Personal belongings, such as shoes and scraps of clothing, have been found scattered throughout the rooms, adding to the eerie atmosphere. One group of investigators captured footage of a glowing orb floating above a bed frame, while another reported seeing a translucent figure standing in the doorway, its expression unreadable but undeniably sorrowful. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunting reputation, the South Carolina State Hospital continues to draw curiosity seekers and paranormal enthusiasts. Its derelict buildings stand as a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for both compassion and cruelty, serving as a cautionary tale about the consequences of systemic neglect. For those brave enough to explore its shadowy recesses, Bull Street offers a chilling glimpse into a world where the echoes of pain and loss refuse to fade, lingering like a specter over the abandoned grounds. The Haunted Tapestry of South Carolina, a living legacy as we draw the curtains on our journey through South Carolina's most haunted places. It becomes abundantly clear that the state's supernatural allure is far more than a collection of ghost stories. These locations, whether they are the foreboding walls of the Old Charleston Jail, the spectral corridors of the USS Yorktown, or the shadowy groves of the Myrtles Plantation, are not merely relics of history. They are living embodiments of the human experience, etched with the scars of tragedy, resilience, and the unyielding passage of time. Each site carries within it a fragment of the past, a shard of collective memory that refuses to be erased, even as the world around it evolves. The significance of these haunted places extends beyond their ability to evoke fear or fascination. They serve as powerful reminders of the fragility of life and the enduring impact of human actions. At the South Carolina State Hospital, for instance, the haunting echoes of neglect and suffering underscore the importance of compassion and ethical responsibility in caregiving. Similarly, the spectral presence of enslaved individuals at Woodlands Plantation and Litchfield Plantation forces us to confront the painful legacies of slavery and systemic injustice, urging us to reflect on how far we've come and how much further we must go. These stories, though rooted in darkness, illuminate the resilience of the human spirit and the indelible marks left by those who came before us. Moreover, these haunted sites challenge us to reconsider our understanding of history. Too often, history is sanitized, reduced to dates and facts that fail to capture the emotional weight of lived experiences. The ghostly inhabitants of these places demand that we listen, not just to their spectral whispers, but to the truths they carry about the complexities of the past. They remind us that history is not static. It is alive, breathing, and evolving, shaped by the stories we choose to remember and the ones we risk forgetting. This ongoing relevance is perhaps best exemplified by the way these haunted locales continue to captivate modern audiences. From paranormal investigators armed with cutting-edge technology to tourists seeking a brush with the supernatural, these sites attract individuals from all walks of life, united by a shared curiosity about the unknown. Social media platforms and streaming services have amplified their reach, bringing tales of haunted South Carolina to global audiences and sparking renewed interest in preserving these historic landmarks. In doing so, they ensure that the stories of the past remain vibrant and accessible, bridging the gap between generations and fostering a deeper appreciation for the intricate tapestry of human history. Ultimately, the haunted places of South Carolina invite us to embrace the mystery of the unknown while honoring the lives that have shaped our present. They are not just destinations for thrill-seekers or fodder for campfire tales. They are sanctuaries of memory, where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur, and where the echoes of the past remind us of our shared humanity. As we step away from these spectral realms, let us carry with us not only the chills they inspire but also the lessons they impart, ensuring that the voices of those who linger continue to resonate in the hearts and minds of future generations. As we bring this spine-chilling journey to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the haunted places of South Carolina are not merely relics of the past. They are living, breathing entities that beckon us to explore the unknown. From the echoing halls of the Old Charleston Jail to the spectral groves of the Myrtles Plantation, each site carries with it a story that transcends time, inviting us to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of the ordinary. But this is not the end. It is merely the beginning of your own adventure into the shadows. If the tales you've encountered here have stirred your curiosity, or sent a shiver down your spine, we urge you to take the next step. Visit these haunted landmarks yourself, and experience firsthand the eerie ambience that has captivated so many. Walk the same corridors where ghostly figures have been seen, stand in the spots where disembodied voices have been heard, and feel the weight of history pressing against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking answers or a believer chasing the supernatural, the haunted places of South Carolina promise an unforgettable encounter with the extraordinary. And don't stop there. Share your experiences with us. Document your journey through photos, videos, or written accounts, and join our growing community of storytellers and seekers. Tag us on social media, leave comments on our channel, or submit your stories to our website. We'd love to hear how your visit unfolded. Together, we can keep these legends alive, ensuring that the voices of the past continue to resonate with future generations. Finally, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to stay updated on our latest explorations into the haunted and the mysterious. Every video we release is crafted with care, blending history, folklore, and first-hand accounts to bring you the most captivating stories from the darker corners of the world. By joining our community, you'll gain access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and opportunities to engage with fellow enthusiasts who share your passion for the unexplained. So, dear reader, as you close this chapter, remember, the shadows of South Carolina are waiting. Will you dare to step into the unknown?